do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets die in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toffee Bluecast. We are back already, and we are back for vengeance. We have got an opposition fan guest. We had him on last time, Russ. He was amazing. We've got him on again. Respect him, as I say always, and he'll give a good us against them pre-match talk tonight to get us ready for the game tomorrow. If you are new to this, if you hit the link on Twitter, it will take you straight over to YouTube. You can comment all the way through, and we can keep putting on the screen what you think. Toffee Bluecast will bring Everton fans together before the game, and we're going to do that tonight. So get on it. How are we doing, Paul? You all right?
Oh, I guess so. The weekend was hard, wasn't it? A tough weekend. Didn't feel great after it. So hopefully we can have a bit of a turnaround and get something positive tomorrow night.
Yeah, it wasn't a nice game. Some struggled with it more than others. I didn't like it at all. I was frustrated with it, but I'm ready for this now. I want to crack on with the Premier League. Right, let's get him on. The main man, Russ, Fulham fan. Here he is. He's probably a bit happier than us at the minute. How you doing, Russ? You right?
I'm good. I don't know how much happier I am than you guys right now because we're coming off of 2 cup losses, one against Liverpool, which I really don't want to relive one more time, but it was just very disappointing. And then, of course, we lost on Saturday against Newcastle United. So we're coming off of 2 cup losses, but we're back in the league like you guys, and I'm ready for this. I'm ready to go for tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, for us, it just feels like, well, the thing is, you come off the cup losses, which you're frustrated with, but we've also got that 10-point deduction that puts us 1 point off being bottom 3. That's the big thing for us.
Sure.
Our fans at the minute, like I say, I'm a fighter. I'm ready for this game. I'm ready to bounce back, and I'm ready to stay up, and I'm ready for the challenge. But some of our fans have had enough. From what I'm getting on Twitter, they really have had enough. They say they're deflated. They've had enough. Players didn't try last game. Wasn't good enough. So we need a win rush to get our fans back on track, because it's getting. Twitter wasn't a nice place after that cup game. It really wasn't, Russ. So I get you're frustrated with the cup, but it seems it's a lot more frustration for us. Might be the same for you though.
Well, it's a little bit different, but I will say this, and I think I said this to the two of you the last time I spoke to you. I am actually very disgusted by what has happened to you with the point deduction and now this other situation you're dealing with. I just think it's wrong. And I am hoping that Everton see this out, because you don't deserve to be in the situation that you're in. I think that's fair to say. And I feel for Everton supporters, and nothing against the other team in red, but I'm not a fan of theirs at all. And I would, if I have to pick blue or red, it's going to be blue all day long. That's just me. It's always been like that. So, but the way I look at it, I understand your frustration. That the supporters should feel frustrated, because I think what's going on with Everton, I think, is unjust. I don't know enough of the details, but I do know that there are other clubs that have spent an enormous amount of money, and no issue for them. You have the Man City situation, but they come after Everton. So it really just has annoyed me. I've been following it because not just about you guys or the Everton supporters I know, it's just it's so irritable what has happened to Everton. I just disagree with it all.
Yeah.
At first,
Well, we share that.
Russ, because we was playing well when we got the deduction. Apparently, if you're playing well, you should be happy to get a deduction. But because we was playing well, it didn't kick in. It didn't kick in. It thought, you know what? It don't matter that much. We'll be fine. But then when you start not playing that well and you pick up a couple of injuries, you realise that this 10-point deduction is going to be a lot harder than what it first felt like when you got it. It felt like it was going to be nothing when we won 4 on the bounce. But then after you lose a couple of cup games and then you draw in the league against Aston Villa and you are in the bottom 3 and you've got players injured, now it's starting to kick in a little bit that this could hurt us and that we have got a big challenge to stay up again. That's the thing.
Right. I understand that. But one thing that I've admired about Everton, and you see it, listen, I'm not a big fan of the style of play of Sean Dyche. I'll just say that. But he knows how to keep teams up. So I have faith that he will do that for you guys, even with everything going on. I just like the fact that your team keeps fighting and the supporters are behind them. That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. You're taking all these body blows. If it was a boxing match, you guys are still standing. You're not knocked out yet. In fact, you're far from it.
No, we're not. And I keep telling our fans this, Russ. I keep telling them, but they're hard to boost up at the minute because they're just. The problem is when one game goes wrong with our fans at the minute, they pull everything out of the hat that's gone wrong over the last year or 2 years. It's like everything that's made them a little bit angry that they've got locked away, they pull out after this game, and it's just, we've done this, we've done that. They bring Lampard back into it, and we're worse than what we was with Lampard. And I think, oh my days, you are. I get it hurts because it does me, but I don't think we need to over doom and gloom it because it's only going to make the season harder if you do that. So I do think we've got to just not feel sorry for ourselves and get on with it.
Totally agree. And that's what's interesting about what's going on with Everton. And I'm not Nostradamus, but I think things are going to end well for you. And I just think that you're going to fight your way through it, just like you did last season. And I think you will find a way to stay up. And if you don't, it's a travesty, and it'll all be about this crazy points deduction, this situation that I think is unjust. And I'll say it again. I just don't think it's fair what they're doing to Everton, the supporters, the players, Sean Dyche, everyone. It's just a big load of BS, as I would say.
Completely.
Well, we
Paul,
agree.
Is he motivating you, Paul? Is Russ motivating you here?
He is a little bit, and I don't. You got to remember that we're coming to your place tomorrow.
I know. I know.
So this is where we turn it around.
Hope not, but we'll see.
Exactly.
So we kind of what we do. We've talked about form. We're going into it now. Russ has just said he's not happy with the way he's played in the cup and stuff like that. So the Fulham fans ain't happy. They feel they've been underperforming. Our fans ain't happy. I haven't got the form to put on the screen today, the last 5 games, but roughly, I think that we were both not doing as well as we was last time we played, are we? Last time we played was both on a high.
Yep.
And now we both seem to have dipped after that high, don't we?
Yeah, it's been a very up and down season for Fulham, just like Everton. There have been some highs and some unfortunate lows. With Fulham right now, believe it or not, I think a lot of it has to do with players not being there. And you guys are dealing with injuries. Now Fulham have another injury in Harry Wilson, which doesn't help them with depth. But they are really missing Calvin Bassey, and Alex Iwobi is a huge loss for Fulham. He really is. And it really has showed itself. While the goals have dried up, I truly believe that he's been that missing piece between, say, Andres Pereira and Raul Jimenez. It's really like this triangle. Without him in there, it's not firing the way it was when Iwobi was in there. When Bassey was there, the defense is better when it's Bassey and Tosin. Now it's Tosin and Diop. So Fulham are dealing with a new injury and then 3 players being out and really not being where that they should be. And then, of course, you're coming off of this gigantic loss to Everton. We beat Everton, but to Liverpool. That really hurt. it really hurt because it was Fulham's chance to get back to a cup final, which would have been great. But we shall see, guys. I am looking forward to the match. Fulham still have a very good starting 11, and it should be an interesting match.
Didn't play bad against Liverpool there. Paul's on it. He's just took the form up there that you've got. Didn't play bad against Liverpool, did you? I watched that game. I thought you was quite decent. There was no better than you in that game. Chelsea, you was unlucky, weren't you? Yeah.
No.
I don't think you've been as bad as us. Looking at
Well, we did beat Arsenal at Craven Cottage. That was a big victory for us recently. So that was on New Year's Eve. We beat Arsenal. So that was significant because that showed that Fulham can play with a top 6 team and actually beat a top 6 team, because that has been the thing that we've been talking about for 2 years now, that they could compete with them, but they just couldn't beat them. Well, now they have. So that was a significant step forward. But I'm not going to lie to you. The Liverpool match still stings for us, but it's back to the league.
Are you with us at the minute? Oh, I don't mind saying this. I don't care. I'll just say things how they are. People hate me for it. They hate me for it. But I feel like our fans are starting to turn on our players a little bit. I feel like, and our players haven't been performing, so I can partly see why. Are your fans on your players' backs at the minute? Are you starting to think with the results you've had? Are you on to the players or not?
I'm seeing some of that. I'm seeing some of it. Some players that were performing poorly at the beginning of the season, you're hearing their names. And Andres Pereira is probably at top of the list because he's been underperforming for a while now. But for some reason, when him and Iwobi and Jimenez really got together, he started performing at a much higher level. Now with Iwobi out, his form has dipped. Jimenez's form has dipped a little bit. So, yes, I would say the supporters are down on a few players, but not as much as you might think. I just think that we look at the players that are out and just upset that they're not with us. We understand why they're not with us, but we're frustrated with what happened over the summer, guys, that we did not bring in more depth for a situation like the African Cup of Nations to be more prepared for this, because it really has hurt Fulham with 3 players out. Foda Ballatore has not really played that much because you have Anthony Robinson, but he would have played in some of the cup matches. He would have helped. And right now they could have used his depth. Now Harry Wilson gets injured in the last match, and now we have even less depth, which might affect this upcoming match against Everton, not on a starting 11 way, but coming off the bench. He was great coming off the bench, so now you don't have him. So it's really going to be a tough couple more weeks until these players come back, because right now they're doing very well in the African Cup of Nations. They have 2 players. Fulham have 2 players with Nigeria, and they might go all the way.
Yeah, could last a while, couldn't it? I mean, I was just looking. Your problem generally is the same problem that most of the mid-table teams have, is that they don't have that consistency either home or away to be able to then push into that top third. So I was just looking at your home form. Obviously, the Newcastle game where you beat there, but then Liverpool, you get a draw. Rotherham get a 1-0. I presume that was a comfortable 1-0.
Yeah, that was comfortable, honestly. That was, Fulham were never in threat of losing that match. So, yes, that was comfortable.
Yeah, and then obviously you got the great win again against Arsenal. But the last home game before that was a 2-0 defeat at home to Burnley. So it's just that consistency, isn't it, really?
Well, we also had the Arsenal victory, too. So that's the thing about what's been going on with Fulham. It's been this up and down season, similar to Everton. And if you're a Fulham supporter, you're thinking, okay, things have gone badly. This is the perfect spot. But you guys are probably thinking the same thing about Everton. That's what makes this match so intriguing. It's actually important, fairly important to both sides. And if Fulham loses this match, we're going to start feeling that we're going to be in a relegation battle. That talk is going to begin, because after that, we have Burnley away. So these are 2 matches that we're banking on getting 6 points from. They don't do that, the pressure will start to mount.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 7-point gap in between us and yourselves at the moment. Yeah. So, yeah, it's obviously better for us to try and close that gap. But our thing is the 3 teams below us, isn't it?
Oh,
we
yeah.
can get away from Luton. That's our main thing. And to hell with any points deduction. We just got to try and do it ourselves with that hanging over us. But even looking at like head-to-head games, Everton have hated London in in recent years. Oh, we were awful at London. Then suddenly we've had one or two decent results in the last year or two. But I was just sort of looking back because we had 2022 was a 0-0 at your place. Before that, a couple of years before that, 3-2 win, but then you beat us. It just kept sort of ebbing and flowing, really. So I think it's if you're kind of going off form, you guys are better at home than generally we have been in total recently. But because of inconsistencies everywhere, really could be any sort of result, to be honest.
Absolutely. I think everything's in play, my friend. And that's what's interesting about this, because everything for us is pointing to they need all 3 points. And you're saying the same thing. And if you look at the way both teams have played this season, it's been up and down. But we both have two quality managers. And I always say once you go against another quality manager, it's going to be a close match one way or another. We've already seen that in 2 matches between our sides. And when I look at Everton and I look how you play, I think a major key for Fulham is going to be handling your balls in the box that you're going to be sending to us. Tosin did a great job. I was just listening to another podcast talk about it. He's going to be key. I think it'll be Tosin and Diop, and they're going to have to get the job done. And they're going to have to be able to really nail that down, because you're going to be throwing long balls at us. It's going to be a different type of match, but Fulham have faced Everton twice, so they kind of know what to expect. You do as well. You know, there's going to be no surprises here. It's just going to be who plays better. It's simple as that.
No, I think a lot's at stake with this as well. There is a lot at stake. Right, what I'm going to do now, we have a little format that we do. Russ has been on before, so he knows the drill. Russ has actually given me his team already, so when I put the team up, it's going to have Russ's. He's the manager today. It's going to have his team on it when I put it up, because I quickly messaged him before we come on. So we've got what team he wants. I'll put an Everton team up roughly. I'm not saying it's what I want, but just roughly. So Russ will talk about his team and tell you why he's picked it. And he'll talk about Fulham, so you'll get an understanding of what he's picked. Then me and Paul will pick ours and tell you why we want it. You in the comments, we want your lineups. And then after that, we finish with score predictions. That's the way we do it. So let's run this nice and smoothly. So here we go. Let's get it on the screen. Just remember, though, the Everton lineup that is on doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to be. I just had to put something up, and we've changed it that much just lately. I don't know what it's going to be or what to put up. But here we go. Your team looks strong, Russ, especially what you gave me. It scared me a little bit. Let's get rid of that comment.
Listen, honestly, our starting 11 is fairly strong. It's when you get to the bench where right now you're going to feel it with the players at the African Cup of Nations. And then, of course, like I just mentioned, the situation with Harry Wilson, he's out. So that's a loss. So when I'm looking at the starting 11, Leno is your starting goalkeeper all day long. Castagna at right back, that's a little bit questionable because it could be Kenny Tete. That goes back and forth, but I would go with Castagna. Tosin and Diop right now, those would be my 2 starting center backs. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I think he could go with Tosin and Ream. I wouldn't do it. I would go Tosin and Diop. Tim Ream, love Tim Ream. I just feel that his legs have gone, and I just don't want to see him starting in the Premier League. I go Tosin and Diop. But they do.
You played Ream last game, didn't you? You did.
We did.
When I looked, yeah,
we did.
He did play last game.
We did, and he played fairly well, to be honest. But I don't want him in this match. I would want Tosin and Diop as my center backs. Anthony Robinson right now picks himself. He's your left back, and he's actually had a very good season. But I'm going to say this because I jinx myself every time I say this. I'm going to say that Anthony Robinson's going to have a terrible game. Because every time I say he's playing well, he plays like crap. So I'm going to say he's going to have a terrible game. And then maybe he'll do the opposite.
Talking about. We'll reverse your reverse psychology. Don't worry about that. It is Everton you're talking about.
Okay. So this is where I think Fulham have the advantage. Will be in central midfield. Paulinho is just basically, he is Fulham's best player. So he will protect that back four and really make things tight, and he'll be the tackling machine that he is. Kearney, for me, I believe will start and is pivotal because he can become the facilitator and really get the ball out wide. Pereira is the wild card because he's not been playing that well. But I think that Marco will go with Pereira. Because of the situation with injuries, it's going to be Willian on the left, Bobby Decadova Reed on the right, and Jimenez up front. And to be honest with you, that's a fairly strong lineup, and I like that lineup. The problem, like I mentioned, when you get beyond that right now, it looks very thin. So this starting 11 has to perform, because if Marco is going to depend on trying to change the match, it's going to be difficult with the players that are going to be on the bench.
That is a good. I didn't like when you gave me that lineup. I didn't like writing it out. That's a very, but like you've just said, just exactly the same as us. Strong 11. Although I'd like to Corey in mine, and you just said you want Iwobi in yours, so we're kind of both missing key players in that department. Because I know how much you love Iwobi, and we love Corey. So it's very similar situation at the minute that we're rolling in, and also the substitutions as well. We've got a lot of kids on the bench and stuff like that. Are yours all young kids on the bench, or you got experienced players, Russ?
We have some experienced players, but you're talking about someone like Harrison Reed who can start. He's fine. Then you have Sasa Lukic, who has underperformed in central midfield. Then you're talking about a couple of strikers, guys, that are just not good enough for the Premier League, and Carlos Vinicius and Rodrigo Muniz. They might play, and that just shows Fulham's lack of depth because they just don't have a decent striker behind Jimenez. So if you see them coming into the match, in my opinion, advantage Everton, because those two guys are just not good enough. Simple. They're not.
No. What would you say on this? That the team does look really strong, and you're worried about them all lasting the whole game. We asked you this last time.
Yep.
You mentioned Robertson might have a mare, but he's been playing well, so it's not because you think he's not playing well. If he goes on what he's been doing, he should have another good game.
Yep.
Would you say Castagna then is that the main weakness?
Well, Castagna, I wouldn't say he's the main weakness, but if you watched the semifinal with Liverpool, one mistake cost Fulham a chance to go to Wembley, in my opinion, and it was his mistake. It was a ball just over the top, and Diaz got behind him, and then there was a double deflection and a goal. But Castagna has been very solid. There's really not much of a difference between him and Kenny Tete. If Fulham want to play more defensive, I would say you play Tete, but I think going forward, Castagna is better. But if you're asking me where Fulham are at their best, it's on the left-hand side with Robinson and William. That's where they're going to be at their best. That's where they're going to try to get the ball to, is on that side. That's the strength of Fulham Football Club right now. Get it to Robinson and William and get the ball in the box to Raul Jimenez. That's what they're going to try to do.
You didn't have Jimenez last time. Paul, what are you scared on this, Paul? Well, what's scaring you here when you're looking at their lineup, or are you feeling confident?
Individual players don't sort of worry me, although I think Jimenez is solid, really. He just, ball's attracted to him. He's just got an adept sense of where that ball's going to go. I don't know whether he's going to like the rough and tumble from Tarkowski and Branthwaite, but he knows where the goal is. It's how they perform as a team. They're just very well interlinked. So they keep the ball well. They move the opposition around. Players like Pereira, Pauline is solid at, to stop attacks. But on the day, like Reed and William, they can do the same. They're almost like a three, how we want Danjuma, Harrison and McNeil to be. Sort of changing, from one side to the other, or just interlinking really well and then feeding whoever's playing up front. So individually, none of them are world beaters. However, as a side, they're formidable. And we've played games this season where they've actually looked, if not certainly equal, pretty much stronger. And then there's one or two players who seem to do really well against us, Robinson being one of them. So my worry is that we don't penetrate attacking wise as much as we should, and we're not strong enough in the middle of the pitch because that's where we're going to win or lose it, I think.
There's a comment there. The Blues has said William versus Patterson is what he's scared of. I don't know. Patterson can be all right. I think we're just scared of everything because we were knocked in confidence. But I think William is really good. Yeah. But I think Patterson can handle him. It's experience versus young. I don't think Coleman's back in, so that'll be interesting. Right. So that is, by the way, that is Rush's team on the screen. It's a good team, and it probably is what it's going to be. Rush knows his stuff. He's like second to being the Fulham manager. He's got his contacts.
I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
Well, third. We'll put you third then. We'll put you third behind the manager.
Okay.
Russ knows his stuff. It'll be interesting. We do like to have a look to see how close the person was on their lineup predictions. So I'll keep that picture and I'll have a look to see how good you are, Russ. Right. Paul, I want your lineup prediction. I'll give mine. We'll get them on the comments because we are trying to keep this to about 40 minutes. Nice and smooth. Paul, give me your lineup. I'll drop mine. We'll get the comments involved and we'll finish on score predictions. Let's do this.
Sean did a press conference today, did he?
Yeah, he did. I listened to it.
Yeah. What did he say injuries wise?
Coleman's like the only person that's maybe. Coleman's the only person that's maybe. Decore's a no. Young's probably a no. Sean Dyche did say in the press conference, he said, I don't want to be playing these players as much as I am, but I'm left with no choice. And I might have to play a very, very similar. The players that was available last game and the players that are available for this. And it's really hard for Everton at the minute. And we're not going to have any activity in the transfer window with the way things are. So he said, Sean Dyche said he'll put it to us how it is. And he did. And I felt sorry for him, to be fair. We're going for a shit time. But at the end of the day, there's still some players that he can work with here. He's just got to get the combination right. So, Paul, on that, give me your lineup.
Danjuma was the one I was wondering about, really. But let's hope that he's willing and able. So, yeah, Pickford in goal for me. Back four picks itself with Coleman and Young. Too soon, maybe, for Coleman. Patterson right. Mikalenko left. Branthwaite and Tarky in the middle. Anana and James Garner. I just don't see that changing in the near future. We haven't got the options anyway, so even if they were playing awful, they'd still be in. The three across, like I said about Reid, Pereira and William being able to switch. Hopefully Danjuma, Harrison and McNeil can do that same job. And then DCL up front for me. I commend the playing DCL and Beto against Luton. Whether they've not played it enough, our touch was awful on Saturday. You can't play 4-4-2 and lose the ball every single time when it goes into the front two. They've got to hold it up. So I could see Sean, if Danjuma is available, not doing 4-4-2 and doing what we would normally do. And if that's the case, then I'd imagine DCL would start. So it's pretty much same as before the Luton game, but with Danjuma on the left, really. McNeil on the right, Harrison in the middle.
It's interesting, Russ, because a lot of our fans, as you probably know, we tried Beto and Calvert-Lewin up top with the Dyche 4-4-2, and it's you can play two strikers up top, but you need it to be decent behind to give them the service. And It felt like when we didn't have the three in midfield and went two up top, it completely killed us. And a lot of our fans have got a lot of doubts on Calvert-Lewin and Beto now as well. So there's a question.
I'd be terrified if we went 4-4-2 tomorrow night. I would, especially with that.
Whether he's going to play.
They just passed it. They just have Anana and Garner running around in circles. So
I am worried whether he's going to add that extra defender, Paul. I am worried whether he's going to add Michael Keane and play with wing backs, because I do not want to do that. However hard it may be now, I think adding Michael Keane and playing wing backs against Fulham would destroy us, because they are.
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I remember you saying last time, Rush, you said you couldn't handle that formation, but now you know how to get
We
around
figured
it
it
and
out.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
You have figured it out.
we've definitely figured that out, and I don't think that's a good idea. In fact, I would encourage it, but I wouldn't do it if I was Everton. I would do something similar to what you have lined up here. I think that is the best way to attack us and us to attack you, just to go at each other. And I think that's what this is going to be about. I think it's going to be two teams going at it, just like we did in the last two matches at Goodison Park. I think they were competitive matches. I expect nothing less here at Craven Cottage. I think it's going to be the same thing. It's not going to be easy for either side, and I think it's going to come down to the end. It's going to be whoever can get that advantage, that goal, and I hope it's my side, but it's going to be a difficult one once we get to predictions. It's going to be close. I'll just tell you that. Regardless, it's going to be close.
It is going to be a good game. I just want to say I did trick you at first. That is my lineup that I've put underneath.
Oh, okay.
That is my lineup. I didn't want to say it was at first, but yeah, I revealed it now. That is my lineup.
Okay.
The only thing, the question is, a lot of people are, and I completely understand this, because Dan Juma's on about leaving and ended his loan already early. A lot of people are talking about putting Dobbin in, the young kid who's a good player. He's not experienced. You don't know what he's going to do. But a lot of people are shouting for Dobbin to get a chance in Dan Juma's position. And I completely understand that if that happens. But Beto, for me, if you put Beto in for Calvert-Lewin, I don't care. They're both underperforming. They're both not performing well. And none is standing out to me more than the other with Beto or Calvert-Lewin. They're both just strikers that just are desperate to get a goal or find a bit of form. Do you turn your back on Calvert-Lewin and put Beto in? I don't know. Or do you just stick with Calvert-Lewin and hope this could be the game that lights him back up? I'm sticking with Calvert-Lewin, I am, because I do believe Beto coming on later on is a good impact sub when Calvert-Lewin burns out 60th minute. Yeah. Right. So, in the comments, Paul, let's get them on and then we'll hit the score predictions. Lineups. Get them in the comments now, people.
Get them in. It's probably... Cass is hoping that... Decore is available. I think he had a little switcheroo there, actually. So he's gone Virginia in goal. Interesting. Patterson, right back, Mikolenko,
different.
Taki, Brandthwaite. Harrison, James Garner. Decore still out, so I think later on he actually says he'd swap Onana in for Decore. Where are we? There he is. McNeil in and Danjuma in behind DCL. I don't think there's going to be a massive amount of choices, is it? It's going to be maybe the odd thing that might change for people, I think. Blue says Pickford, Patterson, Taki, Brandthwaite, Mikolenko, McNeil, Garner, Onana, Danjuma, and then Harrison in behind DCL. I don't think Harrison will do very well against Robinson if he wants to try and get to the line. He doesn't seem to be that winger. I've not seen him very much get down to the line and then cross it back for someone to run onto for a header. So, Harrison, if he's on the right, you'd come inside. That might not be a brilliant thing for Robinson, but I just don't fancy Harrison's chances at the moment.
I don't want to see us, because and I spoke to one of my friends about this. He says we need to pass the ball more. I don't want to just see us be like, get the ball down the wings and cross it into Calvert-Lewin, because it's not like we've got Mitrovic that's frigging the striker where you cross it in and he's going to eat up everything because he's powerful and everything. I don't think Calvert-Lewin is in that form where you just whip crosses in and he's going to score headers from nothing. So I'd like to think we've got a bit more about us where we can actually get Harrison behind the striker on the ball and get into some dangerous positions and actually try and run onto the centre-backs and worry them that way instead of just getting down the wings and whipping balls in, because it's just too predictable for me. And I think Fulham have got big, good centre-backs after watching last game that can really handle it. So I would like to see us try and hit you down the middle a little bit and try and get in behind your midfield when you attack us. But like you said, Russ, I think this could be an exciting game. I mean, I've seen in the comments 0-0. We're going to do score predictions, but I can't see this being 0-0. I really can't, especially with your attacking players. With Guimaraes, you didn't have him last time. He's a nuisance. And I feel that because our attacking players haven't been good enough, this could be a game where you see them a lot better. Is that all of them, Paul? Is that all the lineup predictions?
They're the lineup predictions for the moment. Yep.
Well done, people. Right, here we go then. This is the main part. This is where me and Russ had a bust up last time and had a big falling out. Score predictions.
Am I
Get them
going
in the
first?
comments.
Am I
Yeah,
Go
going
on,
well-
Rush, you go. You go.
Okay.
Go on then.
Okay. So I've been giving this a lot of thought, guys. Like I said, I think that there are going to be goals in this match. And based on the up and down way that Fulham have played recently, I think it's time to go back up. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Fulham I'm going to say a brace from Raul Jimenez. I'm going to say he's going to really show up in this match. Raul Jimenez has had his time, been up and down, but I think it's time for him to score a couple more goals. So I'm going with a 2-1 Fulham victory. But everything's in play. Everything's in play.
I am scared of him, so that's why I did that expression.
Okay.
Because it used to be good for us when he used to play for
Wolves.
Wolves. Who's scoring for Everton on your one?
Oh, I'm going to go with Dwight McNeil.
You make me feel Dwight McNeil. That's a good one.
I'm a big
game, so he
fan of
needs to
Dwight
step up.
McNeil. So I'm a big fan of his. I love watching him play. He's just my type of player. That's all.
He does need to. He didn't play well last game, but I feel that was because our whole team didn't play well, and that's what happens sometimes, isn't it? When your whole team doesn't play well, it's hard. We didn't pass the ball, so we couldn't really thrive. Right, Paul, I'm going to put it on you, and then I'm going to drop my score prediction, and we'll get them involved in the comments. Get your score predictions in the comments now, and I want to see you Evertonians positive because we need this. We need this, and I know Russ needs it because he don't want to come down in our section at the bottom, but we need it as well. So this is going to be a good game. Go on, Paul, go for it.
Okay, I'll be positive.
Be honest. Just be honest. Be honest.
You don't want me to be honest. You don't want me to be honest.
Come on, Paul, be honest.
Oh God, it's not great, especially after the weekend. I'll say that we'll get a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
I think we'll get a draw away. If I was being really honest, I think we'd probably come away with not scoring a goal at all, to be honest. But yes, we've got a 1-1 away, and a 1-1 away at the moment in the form that we're in isn't too bad.
1-1 away wise, by Paul.
Yeah, sorry. Goal scorers wise, probably Willian for you.
Yep.
And for us, Harrison.
Okay.
I think nothing really exciting about it. It'll do us with a couple of games coming up.
Right, my score prediction. That is Paul's score prediction. I'm going to hit you in mine. I'm normally crazy. You know what I'm like. I think 2-1 Everton. I'm going to go the opposite to Russ. I think 2-1, and I've got a lot of respect for Fulham. That's why. I would normally say 3-1 Everton, but I generally do think this is going to be an odd game, and it's who wants it the most. And I can't see. I think Everton will try and defend the best they can and try and keep the clean sheet, but I think Fulham will nick one. But we'll get two. The player that I think will score for you will be Piera, I think.
Oh.
I think he's a little shitbag on the edge of the box. He might nick one in, do you know what I mean? Run onto one. So I can see him doing that and frustrating me, but we're already 2-0 up, so I don't mind that. And the players that score for Everton are going to be Calvert-Lewin needs a goal more than anyone. I can't be arsed with our fans. I just feel he needs something to lift him because it's getting more and more toxic towards Calvert-Lewin. So Calvert-Lewin to score just to build his confidence up. And the other player that I'm going to have to score is going to be Danjuma. Now, I know he might not even play, but I think if Danjuma does play, I think he could be a bit of a nuisance against Fulham if he's up for it, Danjuma. He has got that run and drive, and I think he could hurt you a little bit. So Danjuma and Calvert-Lewin, and then we know who I said scores for Fulham. Piera.
Okay.
Right, get them involved. Get the comments on, people. Give us your score prediction, and we'll wrap up the show. We need this. Come on. I'm so ready for this game, you know. I've never wanted a game so bad.
We've got a fair mix. Paul Cass says that this is going to kickstart us and we'll go on a run with this.
Yes.
So lots of goals in this. 4-2.
Wow.
4-2, he's gone. Jimenez for a couple, DCL for a couple, Mikalenko and Onana as well. He could do with a bloody goal, tell you. Especially
that
after
gets you a bit.
penalty.
That gets you a bit like that gets you booming. That does. Come on, Caswell. Come on, Caswell. Yes, Caswell.
You want to change the music for this though, Dan? Change the music for the Blues. The Blues is back.
Okay.
Blues is back. Different music for the Blues. He's like me though at the moment.
Music out.
He's like me though at a minute with that.
That's a "Don't Break My Heart, Say You Love Me Again." You might as well get that out for the Blues. He's
Braithwaite and Jimenez
Mandy, Westlife, Mandy. He's like, the Blues is listening to music in the rain, crying about that cup performance. Get over it, Blues. We're back. We're going to be better. Don't worry. Right, it's gone. Keep them coming.
Yeah, well, there's one or two pessimistic ones. I'm in that camp, really. I'm in that camp. Lucy is in. She says she's being optimistic, but she's going 2-1, like you said. Danjuma.
Yes.
And Tarkovsky.
I like it a lot.
Tarkovsky.
I like it a lot.
Bang. So we need a bit of Eugene. Now. So 4-1 this time.
Eugene is in the building. Come on, Eugene. Oh, we've got to lift our fans somehow, haven't we? There you go. Bit of music.
Eugene loves a high-scoring game and a DCL hat-trick. He loves that as well. So DCL hat-trick and McNeil to score and give us a lovely 4-1 win. If
Calvert-Lewin scored a hat-trick, our fans would moan and say he should have scored 4, not 3. That's the way it is at the minute. But I hope Calvert-Lewin does score a hat-trick. Keep them coming, Paul. Score predictions.
That's the ones that we've got at the moment. But Paul Caswell is dancing. He's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. So
that's what I'm saying. You've got to get the energy
big
up.
wins.
You've got to start.
Big wins would help.
Paul's down. Blues is down. Paul's down. You've got to come on. I'm the tiger. You've got to do this. That's the one. DJ Dan is in the building, baby. Come on. What the top is, Blue Cast will lift you up. Right. Okay. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to put some Everton music on now. That is the end of the show, people. Rush, you know him. I've always got to get him on because I love him so much. And he's got so much respect for Everton. You can't not love him. And I know that he wants Fulham to win. That's all he cares about. But he's got a lot of respect for us. And I do like it. I have for Fulham as well, to be fair.
I do. F Liverpool, okay? I'll just say that one time. Okay?
Yeah, right.
We'll beat you. We both need it. I just hope that we both, even if we do beat you, which I do think we will 2-1, I hope we both just pull away from this relegation battle and leave whoever's down there.
Well, I'm there with you. Dan, I'm there with you. Before I go, I just want to say this. It really has upset me where you are. I have a good friend that's an Evertonian, and it drives me crazy to see him in this situation like you guys. You don't deserve it, and I'll have an eye on you guys the entire season because I don't want you guys to go down. The 3 teams I want to go down are the 3 teams that should go down, and those are the teams that were promoted. They all should go down. I could also make an argument for Nottingham Forest too before you guys. You guys don't deserve to be there.
We should be 12th. You're right. We should be sitting 12th.
We should be ahead of Fulham. It's not. Yeah. It's just not.
We've got a point deduction bigger than administration. If we would have gone into administration, we would have got 9 points. We got 10.
Yeah.
I really don't get how it works when we work with the Premier League. It's harsh. We should be sitting 12th. Yeah. This is what I keep telling the fans, though, Russ. At the end of the day, our fans keep going doom and gloom, but they need to think that we haven't been that good this season, and we would be 12th. So if we just do what we've been doing over time, we will get out of this. If we panic, we'll get in a mess. But all we need to do is do exactly what we've done up until now, because we would be 12th. So we've obviously been doing the right thing, but just play a bit better because we could have picked up some better results as well. So let's just stay positive, everyone. Russ, Paul, we've loved it. I'm going to drop the banner now. I can't wait for it tomorrow. I know it's a scary game, but I love scary games because I'm sad like that. Bring it on. Russ, thanks for coming on as always. See you soon.
That's a lot, guys.
We'll drop the reaction after the game, people. Stay positive. We just need a win. A win can change everything. Love it. Up the top, everyone.
really do.